Has Bangladesh got an edge over India in terms of US trade deal? What Bangladesh had to lose last minute to get this deal done? And what are the consequences of US tying up with other countries in India's backyard? Up and until yesterday, Indian economy was celebrating that how India has got a tariff edge because of India-US deal. But let me tell you that tariff edge has vanished overnight. And here, nobody else, rather our neighbor Bangladesh is responsible for that, because they have cracked a new deal with the US where all the tariff edge we were talking about with our competitors has gone away from India's end and it has landed straight up in Bangladesh. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh and today we are going to talk about this new Bangladesh-US deal that has been signed and how it is impacting India big time, how it is undermining the output we were expecting from India-US trade deal, and what exactly Bangladesh decided to give up end minute to lock this particular deal. What are going to be the advantages around it? What are going to be the disadvantages around it? Let us understand all of this from scratch. Starting with the first most important aspect that we are talking about, that what is the perceived advantage that we have been expecting for India and how it has been taken away. So when we are talking about India, if you remember, as per Indo-US trade deal, India got the tariff rate of 18%. Okay. Bangladesh, before their deal, had it for 19%, Vietnam 20%. Now, when we are talking specifically about textile sector, it was the biggest gainer of India-US deal, and for India, which is heavily dependent on US market for export, the difference of this 1% tariff also made very important impact, because that enhanced Indian goods, textile goods, export competitiveness, especially in US market. So, up and until yesterday, India believed it had secured a marginal but a meaningful tariff edge over US textiles market as compared to the other countries. Now, especially with reference to the textile sector, you have to understand that this sector operates on 2 to 4% of operating margin itself. So, here 1% difference in terms of tariff not only helps in export competitiveness, helps in profit margins as well. And that is why India-US trade deal was very significant for our textile sector. But now comes in the Bangladesh trade deal with the US, which has slashed this number to 0. Now, the competitive edge, meaningful edge, marginal edge that we are talking about, that has gone, and Bangladesh has come out winning in this particular situation. Now, when already there were so many questions about Indo-US trade deal, if you want to understand that, I have already covered that in a video in detail. You can go and watch that. But now a main pointer has been taken away. So this makes it a greater problem. Now there are multiple dimensions around it that we need to understand. So let us move it from scratch, where we will be saying that what exactly did Bangladesh has to offer, what exactly did Bangladesh secure from US. So from US they have not only secured 0 reciprocal tariff, but it is only for specified volume of textile and apparel exports. They also have quota-linked preferential access. That means certain goods and services, they will be given a certain amount of quota from US's end and they will have preferential access to US market. General reciprocal tariff, apart from textile, that has been reduced from 20 to 19%. And this mechanism will be operationalized through a new framework, that is US-Bangladesh framework. So basically what we get to see, that there is a tariff asymmetry which has been created between India and Bangladesh, where we have to give 18%, 0% for Bangladesh, and it also gives Bangladesh certain other advantages. Apart from this, another dimension around it is about the fact that what exactly Bangladesh offered in this situation to secure this deal. Because when we are talking about US at this particular point of time, US is not feeling very gracious, US is not feeling very giving in this point of time. They want to make America great again. So they want better things, outputs for them. So there has been very unique giveaways from Bangladesh to secure this trade deal, and this is a trade framework which has integrated Bangladesh's defense, energy and also digital infrastructure based on US's needs. So this agreement, what it has done, that Bangladesh will ensure that they will keep on increasing purchases of US military equipment, and they will simultaneously reduce the procurement from certain countries. So when we are talking about certain countries, we know that US is talking about China, and in recent times the closeness between Bangladesh and China has been very difficult of a situation to handle for India. If you talk about when Chinese ambassador had visited Teesta water management project very close to Siliguri corridor, when you talk about unmanned aerial vehicles and its production being started in Bangladesh via Chinese, that again near Siliguri corridor. So it had a very strategic and security angle involved from India's end. That has been also addressed with US intervening, but we have to remember US is not going to look for India's advantages and disadvantages. They wanted to limit China's influence in this particular context. This particular agreement, this trade agreement, might be said that it is first of its kind. It has been labeled by many writers so, but we have to understand it follows the very same pattern that US would use trade as a tool, tariff as a tool to make sure that they get what they want. But the question here, why Bangladesh is compromising on it? Why Bangladesh has agreed to this? What was the hurry to it? So we will move towards that as well. Now when we have understood that what are the important things that have been given from Bangladesh's end, let us move to talk about in detail why this is a double challenge, not just in terms of textile that we have understood, but also another important factor that needs to be understood. Because when we are talking about India's cotton yarn export, you have to remember that this is an export which is concentrated in Bangladesh. Now Bangladesh has promised US that okay, we will be opening markets for you, your cotton exports as well. So what Bangladesh will do? Bangladesh will substitute Indian cotton inputs with US cotton. That means textile sector will see double the impact, not just in terms of tariffs, operating margins, but also in terms of export potential being lowered down. And it will see a direct impact, especially in this context, on Gujarat sector, Tamil Nadu textile clusters and Maharashtra cotton value chain as well. Now straight up moving to the question that why Bangladesh rushed into it, why did Bangladesh compromise on so many factors? So the most important factor here is India itself. India's trade diplomacy has been on such a fast track and with so many achievements, be it FTA with Oman, UK, UAE, European Union, all of these coming in, it looked like that India's labor intensive sector will be benefited heavily, especially textiles and footwear. Now when we are talking about Bangladesh, they thought that they will have their competitive space eroded because India was entering all of these export markets very aggressively. So Bangladesh also wanted to lock in that space. So first reason is that. Second comes from a very different perspective because up and until recently, Bangladesh had the least developed country status. Now they have to graduate from that, and once they are graduating from that, the access they had, concessional access, the concessions that they were getting, they will be taken away. They will not be present. And if they want to remain relevant in terms of export competitiveness, then they have to ensure that they lock their own respective trade deals. So for example, if let's say their tariff is for 19% and they had the concessional access because of LDC status and they were entering at 12%, just a hypothetical example. Now this will be taken away, this will not exist anymore. So they have to come up with their trade deals of their own so as to ensure that they remain competitive in terms of exports. Now this brings us to another important factor around this conversation is the fact that why are we talking about this pattern of geopolitics combined with trade, because in last 2 years we have seen them tied together. We have seen that geopolitics is not operating in isolation and trade is happening parallelly. They are something that has been clubbed together, especially when we are talking about US setting the example, and especially in the time when there has been a huge dip in India-Bangladesh ties, the friendship that we have seen, the historical ties that we hold. In this context, all of the issues such as movement of Bangladesh towards China, cancellation of transshipment facility by India, the remarks that has been given by the interim political setup in Bangladesh, all of this is very concerning for India because our Siliguri corridor, also known as chicken neck corridor, we have to understand that how strategically and security wise it is so important. And in this very context, it becomes a very important factor that we need more partners from our end. We know that US's advantages not be all ours, but we have to also factor in that this particular move is counterbalancing China, and that calls for better trade negotiations from our end, that what need to be done with US and what needs to be done with Bangladesh also, because we cannot separate geopolitics and trade, and that needs to be applied to Bangladesh as well, because Bangladesh does remain an important figure across the globe in terms of textiles. Second largest garment exporter globally after China. It is a major supplier to US and European Union. So if US they have a deal and if they come up with one with European Union, we will see a huge impact, because 22% of textile import to European Union goes from Bangladesh itself. India only is 5%. So even if there is a minor tariff shift from Bangladesh for Bangladesh, India might take a bigger hit yet again. So in this context, in coming times, it is very important for India to address this and understand that we need to enter sector specific renegotiations with US. We need to focus on diversification again, and we need to focus towards European Union and United Kingdom markets. We need to focus on strengthening domestic cotton competitiveness as well, and schemes like production linked incentive PLI, their realignment towards textile shoe, so as to ensure that we have a cushioning towards if there at all a real shock is incoming as an impact of such trade deals. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.